Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Warriors Walkoff here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We'll start by talking Warrior baseball here at Ben Johnson, the pitching coach at Winona State. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Let's go back just a little bit and talk about the last couple of games that you played because due to scheduling, you only played 2 games this past week against the University of Mary. Kind of talk us through overall how those games went.
I would say we pitched well. Both games we for sure pitched well enough to win. We had chances in, I'd say more so the second game, a lot of guys on base. Would get to 2 outs and just wouldn't be able to capitalize, but that's something going forward that we'll be better at.
All right, let's talk about the starting pitching. Aaron Mutter was the starter in the first one. He's the guest today. We'll see him in a couple of minutes. Pitched really well, just scattered 6 hits in that first game, but took the tough luck loss.
Yeah, no, he threw really well for his entire outing. I would say gave up 1 real hit. A lot of just kind of throwing the hands at it. They had credit to them. They had a really good approach at the plate. They get to 2 strikes and would find a way to put the ball in play and kind of move runners along. So credit to them for that. All
right, there was a 3-1 loss in the first game, and then the second game 3-2. Talk about game 2 and what happened.
Dylan Whitaker, he's been as good as we expect him to be. We had kind of some misfortunate plays that kind of extended innings for him, where this was a start where he easily could have got 7-8 innings and then been able to hand the ball to Nick Harold, but compared to having to give him in the 7th, where it was a little bit different situation than what he's been used to. So that's kind of on us for putting him in a difficult situation.
All right, let's talk about Nick Harold because he's had a great season, second in the NSIC in saves, and if he had pitched the minimum amount of innings, he'd be leading an ERA because it's under 1 right now. Talk about what it's like to have him in the bullpen and being able to rely on him.
Yeah, and I would say it's all 3 of those guys, Jake Watzka, Parker Holmstrom, and Nick Harold, where you have the confidence where last year our starters kind of had to go 8 or 9 innings, but this year if our starter can give it in the 7th inning game, if they can Mutter give us 6 innings, easily hand the ball to Harold, it's going to be most likely 1, 2, 3 inning. But just the overall confidence that all 3 of those guys have, it's big time.
Okay, let's talk about you then as the pitching coach. You know, what is the difference in coaching a starter, a middle reliever, a closer?
I would just say it's more so the day-to-day stuff, where with Aaron, we know that he's going to throw once a week. So his schedule is a lot different than our relievers, where there might be midweek bullpens that they need to throw compared to our starters, where they know, hey, I'm not going to throw for another 5 days. But like Nick Harold, he just threw a light bullpen yesterday because hopefully we get to use him twice tomorrow.
Okay, and then let's talk about these layoffs that you've had over the past couple of weeks. You know, we talked about going up to Crookston and not being able to play at all, and then only 2 games on the schedule for this week. How do you make sure that your pitchers have enough rest but also get some work in on the side?
Yeah, I'd say they're good about going in and throwing on their own. We have a lot of, strength and conditioning stuff, arm-wise, that they like to do on their own. So that's something that they hold each other accountable. You know that if we are off, they're not just going to sit on the couch and do nothing. They're going to go get their workout in and make sure they're still fresh for their next start or next relief appearance.
Okay, so let's kind of walk through a week, maybe a day during the season for you as a pitching coach. You know, what are some of the things that you're doing with the team, and what are some of the exercises that they're doing?
Yeah, I would say just more so talking to the guys, letting them know what the week ahead looks like, what their kind of expectations are, and then more so giving them the freedom. What do you need to do to be ready to go? We have body blade, we have weights, we have bands, kind of the basic thing that every team has, but giving them the tools for what they need to be successful and then letting them kind of choose what works best for their plan.
All right, and what do you like to see them do as far as pitching? I mean, is there a limit to how many pitches that you want to see them throw on their off days?
No, not really. I won't put like a number on it, but more so just encourage them to throw. I guess when it's a starter wise, they're comfortable going around the 100 pitch limit, even a little more. But kind of relievers, it's being smarter with your arm, knowing that you're going to need to throw multiple days in a week and put yourself in a position to do that.
All right, let's talk about the kind of pitching staff overall, because as we talked with Kyle Polk, you know, he says he likes to have a lot of arms in there because you're going to have a lot of games in a short period of time, especially if you have weather conditions, you have to make things up over. You've had 6 starters and 8 relievers this season for you. Talk about decisions on when you're going to put your starters in the games.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of lays out from the start, I guess. We knew who our kind of top 4 or 5 guys were, and then as the season's progressed, it's been weekend guys and then midweek. So you have 3 on the weekends where it's traditionally kind of flip-flops after we have the bye, but it was traditionally Aaron Mutter, Dylan Whitaker, and Caleb Shane Holtz, and then the midweek was Austin Savory and Kyle Gendron, who all 5 of those guys have been throwing really well. And now we've added a 4th game. That's where Brett Herberg just got a start against Duluth and threw really well. And then he'll have another start up against Augustana this upcoming weekend.
All right, and Kyle Gendron has been a name that we've heard over and over again as kind of a phenom. First season that we've really seen him pitch. Talk about him and his development here at Winona State.
I would say just from the fall, his work ethic has been something that has progressed. He's starting to work out with the older guys, and that's clearly benefiting him. I saw him throw in the fall, and I had this kind of set expectation for what this season should look like, and it's exactly what we thought.
All right, and then talk about your relievers. We talked about kind of the closers, but how about your middle relievers, the guys that come in? Have they come in kind of in that position already, or are they converted starters that should kind of put in the bullpen?
I would say our younger guys that have kind of filled in that long relief, Justin Furpo and Levi Schaller, both were obviously starters in high school. We have 5 upperclassmen that are returning from, or 4 upperclassmen returning from last year's starting rotation, so it's a little bit different for those guys, but they've done a good job at being ready, understanding what their role is, and doing that to the best of their ability.
Okay, and then kind of the last questions here, the games that are upcoming. You'll be playing on Tuesday, and then we'll see what happens with weather after that. What's the plan for this week?
Tomorrow, Tuesday, Tuesday we play Wayne at home. Aaron Mutter will start game 1. Caleb Shane will start game 2. And then Friday and Saturday we play 2 each day at Augustana. And that'll be Dylan Whitaker, Austin Savory, and then Kyle Gendron, and then Brett Herber.
All right, and then do you have a plan as if you need relievers, who you'll go to, or is that kind of situation?
Yeah, more so situational based. A lot of our starters, they have the expectation that if they go into the game, their expectation is to finish it. So that's a good mentality that these guys have been able to have, where now you don't have to have 4 relievers ready, where if you can get a solid start, 6-7 innings, now it's a lot easier to hand the ball to those 3 guys and hopefully be in a good position to win a game.
And then kind of how hard is it to make sure that everybody gets the work that they need to get in and gets the game situation that they need to get in?
If it's not game-like, we do a lot of scrimmaging. So just yesterday, a lot of the guys that hadn't been throwing, we had, I think, 8 pitchers throw live to our hitters. So you're getting game work without being in game. So once that opportunity does come, you've been ready.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, Aaron Mutter will be the guest. That's right after this.
Your community matters. So does making sure it's well protected. Because Sally's isn't just a cafe. And Smith's isn't just a flower shop. It's years of hard work and investment.
Hey, new equipment looks great.
And in this moment, you realize your independent auto owner's insurance agent is the right person to protect it. Auto Owners Insurance.
WA Group in Winona is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff here on TV 25. Aaron Mutter now joins us. Thanks for coming back again this year. I've looked over what we talked about last year, and I kind of glossed over something that maybe we want to talk about, and that's your pre-high school baseball days. You almost got to the Little League World Series. Tell us a little bit about that and your younger days in baseball.
So in Burlington, Little League is where I played, and we were one game away technically from being on TV first of all, and then being from the Little League World Series. I forget what the score of that game was, but I know it was a close game.
So where were those games? Was that in Omaha, or was that somewhere
Indianapolis.
else? Indianapolis. Okay, very good. So what was it like to have that kind of a season where you're kind of anticipating and you're so close to the actual TV games?
It was exciting. It was fun. It was something new for me, that just going away out of state and having kind of an exciting, everybody's kind of in it and the whole nation's there with you, and it's just kind of a fun experience to have.
All right, and was that kind of the fuel to make you kind of pursue baseball? Because as we said, you played basketball and you played football. You said you were pretty good at football, but baseball has always kind of been your passion. Was that kind of the fuel for your passion?
I would say yes. It definitely led me to go outside of Burlington Little League and go see my other options of, say, travel ball, and kind of see what other baseball is like outside of Wisconsin and the Midwest.
Okay. And then what kind of brought you here to Winona State? What were some of the factors maybe in your visit or maybe in the recruiting process that led you here to Winona State?
I actually remember my first letter I got was I was a freshman in high school. And I didn't think anything of it until about my end of my junior year of high school. And all of a sudden, Riley was the one who was contacting me. And he just started talking to me, texting me, calling me. And then it led to a visit here, and I fell in love with it right away. And that's kind of what led me here.
All right, very good. So in your situation, I think Aaron was here before you were here.
Yep.
So when you take over the staff and you see an Aaron Mutter, what kind of research do you do on some of the players to kind of get ready for your coaching?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, even before fall ball started, would have been last year, we had individual meetings with everybody in the team and just kind of talked about what they liked in the kind of, I guess, the last year's season, things to implement. Just kind of told them the route that I was looking to take. And then once fall ball was done, kind of brought everybody back in, just kind of asked for their opinions on kind of what went well, what do you think we need to change, just kind of their feedback. I think that's the most important thing you can do as a coach.
All right, and for you, having come in, I think Patrick was the pitching coach maybe your first year, and then Ben comes in. What are some of the things that you have to learn from the coaching staff to be successful yourself?
It was a new experience. The old pitch coach was Matt O'Brien.
Oh, correct, yes.
And so it was kind of a different coaching style. And you have to be open to their coaching style, and everybody was, and open to Ben, and we loved him from the start. And we just got used to him, kind of how he coaches, and just went from there.
All right, talk about your season so far this year. 2-2 record, as we said the last time out, kind of a tough luck loss. How do you feel you're pitching this year?
I'd say I'm definitely competing to win. I'm doing enough to win. Just sometimes things it's baseball. It doesn't go your way sometimes, and you just got to keep fighting for it and keep trying your best to let your team have a chance to win.
All right, what's your decision on the mound, kind of wanting to stay in games? Obviously, you talked the bullpen maybe wasn't so good last year, but it's a lot better, more improved this year. Do you feel any kind of pressure to stay out there and kind of finish what you start?
I always put pressure on myself for that. I never want to come out of the game, and Ben knows that, and I get mad at him when he takes me out, and that's just who I am as a person, and I'm a competitor, and I never like really getting taken out.
So if you see a coach coming up to the mound, do you kind of give him a little glare? Is there a look that you give to the coaches? Do they know that?
I probably do. I probably don't notice that I do it, but I probably give a little something that it's a little glare that, just go back. I don't want to see you out here, but. I mean, I guess I could. I might.
We do a good job communicating between innings, where it's a situation where he's getting deeper into the game. I just kind of walk by him. You good? Yep. All right. That's all I need to hear.
And that's it. Very good. All right. What do you need to do this week and then the rest of the season to kind of keep going what you've been doing all season long?
I'd say just keep doing what I'm doing. Honestly, enough things will fall through where it's going to work out for us, and hopefully I'll get some run support, and I'll be able to keep my team in the game, and I just need the other half to pull through for me. All
right, last question here. I know pitchers tend not to hit once they get here. It's kind of specialized. You were a good hitter in high school. Have you ever campaigned to maybe get an at-bat? And it's been a couple years. Do you think you could do it if you're called on?
Oh, I for sure could. I tell them every day, give me an at-bat, but I probably would be absolutely terrible, but I think I would.
We did try it in the fall. That's last year. That's what he forgot to mention.
Oh, okay.
That's when he came to me and said, yeah, I'll be a pitcher only after that.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here today, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, we'll go talk softball with head coach Greg Jones right after this.
In this moment, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance that you do. What matters right now is the quality of your independent insurance agent.
Glad you're okay, Sarah. We'll take care of everything.
And the company that stands behind them.
Thanks so much for your help.
No problem.
Auto Owners Insurance. WA Group in Winona is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
And welcome back to Warriors Walkoff here on HBC TV 25. Time now to talk softball with head coach Greg Jones. And there's a lot to talk about over the past week. We'll start off going back in time a little bit to when you played Augustana. Obviously, those were big games. Augustana was in the top 15 nationally. You were just outside the top 20. You kind of said this was going to be kind of a bellwether series for you. You win both games.
Yeah.
How do you think the team stands after winning those two games?
Well, I thought just those games in general were big for us because of not only the rivalry and the standings and all of that kind of stuff, but we just needed to play somebody that talented and kind of see where we were. And it was a far more offensive day than I thought it was going to be on both sides. You probably had the best 4 pitchers in the league all on one field, and it ended up being an offensive day. Now the wind was blowing out, which had something to do with it. But just good quality teams, and I thought our kids handled it well. What we did was we scored early in the games and we scored early in the innings. Augie was just the opposite. Their offense all came late in the games and it came late in innings, and but we got enough to hold on, which I thought was real good resiliency on our part and big wins.
Yeah, and close games, obviously, 9-7 the first game and 6-5 in the second game. So in that 9-7 game, obviously those are games that you kind of want to play at this time of the season because playoffs are coming up. You don't want to look that far ahead, but you want that kind of experience to have a close game, especially a high-scoring game, right?
Yeah, and we haven't had one of those all year. Our close games have all been low-scoring games, 4 and 5 run type of affairs. We got out early. Laney in the first inning hits a home run, and it kind of felt like, okay, we showed up. And sometimes that's your best superpower, just show up. And I knew we were there to play then. And they didn't do a lot offensively. They just kind of nickeled and dimed us, and it was just base hits and bloopers and things like that. But what they did a good job of is what we try to do is they just kept the line moving, and they just kept getting at bats. And to be able to hold them off down the stretch, I think was great. Just for that, you've got to get in those kind of games and know you can beat those kind of teams.
You mentioned maybe the 4 best pitchers in the league were in this series, and you had a kind of interesting back and forth between the 2 games because Jordan Clement, who's the guest today, starts game 1. Liz comes in and gets the save in game 1. And then game 2, Liz starts, Jordan comes in to get the save in game 2.
Yeah, and again, our bullpen all year has been really good. When we've asked kids to come out of the bullpen, they've really done a good job of coming in and being able to throw strikes and get ahead, and they've really done a great job of throwing with great pace and just changing the tempo of the game, and that's what we wanted. I didn't think Jordan was pitching poorly. She'd given up a lot of hits, but not a lot of hard contact, and I just thought, well, let's just change the look here, and so we did, and Liz starts out, goes 2-0 on the first hitter, and I grabbed Jordan. I said, you might go right back in. And all of a sudden, just like that, it was over. 3 hitters and a very limited number of pitches, and then the very same thing in the next game. It was just time to give a different look. And Jordan's always been so good out of the pen. It just worked both times for us, fortunately.
All right, and now the more recent games, pushed back, different location. Can you talk a little bit about how you came about, playing at Waldorf?
Yeah, we have a new rule in the league that allows us to travel a little bit further. It used to be only a 25-mile radius from your campus, which is nothing. And so we've changed it within the league. You can go 225 miles, which opened up a broad spectrum of locations. The first place we checked was the Dome in Rochester, thinking because of snow and rain and everything else. But they were booked. So I reached out to Larry Holstead, our former AD, who's from Forest City, Iowa, and knows the AD down there at Waldorf very well, and he kind of greased the wheels on the whole process, got it going, and they were great hosts for us. And they've got a turf outfield, so we knew it was going to be a little bit easier to get ready with the weather. But they did all the field work, did everything for us. All we had to do was show up and play it, and it worked out well to be able to get games in. It actually ended up, even for the visiting teams, that it was a site reversal. Fayette and Forest City are closer than Winona and Fayette, so it was even better for them, I think.
All right, in the first couple games against Minnesota Crookston, didn't allow a run. 3-0 in the first game, 13-0 in the second game. A little bit of a difference between the Augustana games and these games. How do you feel your team made that transition between the 2 teams?
It was a different thing because we've been playing so much. And also we had a 4-day break because of the weather, and the snow came and everything just kind of shut down after big victories. And I was worried about the letdown and the ability to get back up. I don't know that was the problem in game 1 of Crookston, but we weren't sharp. We just were kind of playing like we thought we were going to win. We finally got the offense going at the right time, but again, we pitched our way to and defended our way to success there, and then the bats finally got clicking.
Okay, and then the games against the Beavers, 10-4, 9-0, and in that game, this time it was a different weather situation you had to battle. You had to battle wind, sustained 20-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah.
Again, how did the team react to that?
You know, and it was cold both days, not miserably cold, but because of the wind, it was a cold wind. And day one, the wind was blowing straight out. Day two, the wind was blowing straight in, and also blowing straight into your dugout. So you just never were relaxed and comfortable. But we jumped on them early. They didn't play real well defensively early. We took advantage of what we could, got some runs. Then I think we kind of flattened out. I think we just took our foot off the gas a little bit. We didn't score after the third inning. But then to come right back and put up crooked numbers in game two, I thought was really good. It was one of those weekends where everything was different. You know, location was different. We'd never played there. We're on the road for road games, yet we felt like we were the home team because it was kind of a site reversal. We're staying in Iowa where we've never stayed before. So everything was a little different. I thought our kids really handled that part very well.
Okay, and then you also had kind of an oddity, I guess. Jordan Clement, who pitched a no-hitter previously, only goes 3 innings in the one game against the Beavers.
Yeah.
What was the decision there to take her out after 3?
I think over the course of the weekend, what our thought was, because we had 3 straight days of games, was to get our pitching out if we could and get them rested if we could. And day one, we got the lead. In game 2, we were able to get Liz off the field. And so then in day 2, we got the big lead early and we were able to get Jordan off the field. And then with the 5-inning game, Liz didn't have to didn't have to go 7 either. So it really worked out nicely that way that our kids, our top 2 arms only had to throw 10 or 9 innings over the course of 2 days. So I feel like they're as rested as they can be going into today.
All right, yeah, last minute in this segment, we're taping on Tuesday. This is going to be your 3rd straight game. How do you make sure that the team is fresh after having to travel from Iowa and now having to play, 6 games in 3 days?
Yeah, just don't tell them. They show up, you got to play. And we did it before. I mean, we've done it before. Like in Florida, we played 3 straight days and we're successful down there. We got our starters off the field and got them off their feet a little bit yesterday, which helped. And so it was as politely as you can put it, ended up being, from a time standpoint, kind of like a practice anyway, that we got our reps in, we got our at-bats in, we got them off the field, so that we would have had that amount of time of work anyway if it was just a practice day. So I think we should be good.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warriors Walkoff. When we come back, Jordan Clement will join us right after this.
In this moment, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance that you do. What matters right now is the quality of your independent insurance agent.
Glad you're okay, Sarah. We'll take care of everything.
And the company that stands behind them.
Thanks so much for your help.
No problem.
Auto Owners Insurance. WA Group in Winona is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
And welcome back to Warriors Walk-Up. Jordan Clement joins us. Thank you for being here again this year.
Thank you for having me.
I got to ask you, coming off of 2 really good seasons, this is now your junior season, what are some of the things that you did this off-season to get ready for this year? Having the success that you've had over the first 2 years, what are some things that you tried to improve on this off-season?
I think just getting stronger in the off-season and then working on, I guess I didn't work on any new pitches, but just perfecting the pitches I had and making sure that they're moving every single time and just working with the other pitchers and our pitching coach, Cindy, to better those pitches and make sure that I don't have as many missed pitches and that each pitch moves.
All right. Now, one of the things that we've talked about the past couple times that you've been on, I think your freshman year, your rise ball was maybe your main pitch, and then you went away from that last year, but still had success. How about this year? What pitches are you throwing this year that you're finding are your successful pitches?
I think honestly it depends on the day this year because it really depends on who we're facing and how we're going to get them out. So it depends on what's moving the best that day, and we kind of vary and mix up the pitches throughout the innings too. So it kind of depends on the day, definitely.
All right, and kind of going back to the off season, what are some things that you and Cindy and the rest of the coaching staff, have players work on, especially when they were pitcher of the year like she was last season? What are some of the things you look for?
Well, I think all the time for us, it's about trying to do what we do and not get away from what makes us successful. Yet at the same time, you're trying to not let it be stale, where then they can just master the workouts. We don't. And Cindy in the off season this year, first semester, changed even their warm up and said, I'll dictate what your warm up is. We're going to go a little faster. We actually shortened our workout times. And again, you're always trying to reinvent yourself, but not get away from what keeps you successful.
So talk about that a little bit, changing your warm-up. Baseball players, softball players, they kind of get into a rhythm. They're kind of superstitious. You change things up a little bit. How did you react to that?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say I'm one of the superstitious people too. But with Cindy, she knows what she's doing. So when she switched that up, she knows how to make us uncomfortable and make us work when things aren't going our way. So switching up the warm-up was something different, but something that we all learned to work with, and I think she knew how to push us that way, so that was really nice.
All right, so since you said you're a superstitious person, we got to find out a little bit more about this. What are some of your superstitions?
I mean, if you just watch me, I think you would see them before every inning. I walk out to second base, and people probably think it's the craziest thing, but for me, it's just calm yourself down and take it one pitch at a time, and I walk out there to just it's just another inning. So, and it's routine for me, so I'm big into routines. So that's one thing. And then, I don't know, I think with everyone on our team, we're kind of superstitious. So sometimes it comes down to how we're going to wear our hair that day, which sounds ridiculous, but honestly, that's what it is.
Okay. Now, we've kind of completely glossed over a couple of things. As we said, last year you were Pitcher of the Year in the NSIC, preseason Pitcher of the Year this year, and oh, by the way, you threw a no-hitter this week. Kind of talk about all those different things. I mean, what was it like to throw the no-hitter this past week? Were you kind of aware of it while you were pitching?
Not really. I think maybe in the last inning I had known, but that game was so weird. I mean, I had hit 3 batters, so there was people on base almost every inning, so it wasn't as satisfying that way, and I don't think I really was aware that there was a no-hitter occurring because there was always runners on, and I think that's how the defense felt too, so it kind of took the pressure off that way.
Now, whether you're aware of this or not, you have pitched more no-hitters than anyone in Winona State history. Now, I know maybe you don't want me to mention that. What does that feel like to you? You're a junior, you still have one more year left to go here at Winona State. What does that feel like?
Honestly, I didn't know that either until Cindy had made a comment about it, which was really cool of her. But I don't know, it's super humbling and awesome to know that, and honestly I give all the credit to the defense because the fact that they can go out there and make all the plays and take hits away from teams is awesome. So
all right, I did do a little bit of research on you this season just to find something different to talk about. You have had one at-bat this year, which happened the second game of the season,
yeah.
Grandview. Tell me a little bit about that and the situation. You were a pinch hitter, you got a walk. Tell me a little bit about that.
It was exciting for me. I don't know. I guess I wasn't expecting it, but it was super fun. And I went up there obviously hoping to get a hit, but just to get on base. And then I got walked, and someone came up after me and got a huge hit and scored the runs that won the game. So that was exciting.
All right. And
true story. Yeah. She was going to pinch it earlier, but she was in the bathroom.
That is true, and I have not gone to the bathroom during the game since then. So
Jordan actually is a really good hitter, and we've kind of taken the bat out of her hands because I also can't afford her to get hurt.
Right.
And it's one of those things that McKenna was the same way, yet McKenna got to hit every game, and sometimes it's a mindset as a coach of where you're at. And this year our depth isn't great. And early on, when we were playing without Laney on top of it, I just said, well, we can't have Joe get hurt either. And earlier this weekend, I kept saying, God, I want to get Joe a couple at bats. And then now you're looking at coming down the stretch, and I just get paranoid about it. And I don't want her to blow a hammy on the bases or get hit on the hand or things like that. But she actually is a really good hitter, and I keep wrestling with myself how to manage that.
Well, we're out of time, but I got to get one more question in here. So how much time do you actually spend practicing batting?
The same as the rest of the team. I go down and take my reps just like they do every single day. So.
All right. Well, thank you for coming here
Thank you
this
for
week,
having me.
and good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching us here on Warriors Walkoff. We'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.